Hello, Bl'Artagnan here, bringing you the Wyrm of Chaos Lufenia for story chapter Act 3, Part 3, I want to say? Something like that. Anyway, before we begin, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Again, as I always say, I know it's a bit of a meme, but it does really help me out. Bringing a team here of Garland, Bartz, and 9. This is a pretty straightforward fight, not a whole lot of bullshit to deal with, but there are a couple of things here and there that you got to account for. This Eldnarsh mannequin being one of them. It's tanky as heck and likes to spam AoE HP attacks with its all attack. Bahamut himself, the orb is pretty forgiving. You basically just need to break him to get +7, which is really quite generous. Not sure what that was about. Really, the dangerous thing with him, beside him and just having some decently hard hits, is that once you bring him down to half health, he full heals, becomes undelayable. And what's that last piece? Basically, he gets a recast that you need to either paralyze him through or just not let him use at all in order for it to go away. You can also just, I think, use a bunch of attack down to get around it. In my case, my plan is to use a few paralyze effects and a lot of murder to get through it. The basic game plan here is to have a proper slugfest with him for the first half of the fight, using 9 to survive and Bartz and Garland to hit hard. And once Bahamut's down below that half health mark and is re-healed, we're just going to go into murder mode with Bartz BT and Tifa and the whole 9 yards. Managed to time it just right so that Bahamut went below 80% health there when Bart's turn was coming up. I didn't plan that, you can see, because I can barely see his health thanks to Garland's buffs. But it worked out perfectly. They had to just sneak in one more of those instant break things in there. That was an attack I did not expect to hit as hard as it did. I probably could have tanked it with 9's LD, but I didn't really want to overwrite the Rebellious Fangs buff this early, and I honestly didn't think it was going to hit that hard. So the thing you'll see about 9 is that his healing is not great unless it's overheal healing. That's the main way he's able to heal the party, is if he's at full health and healing beyond that. So using him as your main healer is a bit touchy. Take a bit of a risky move there. Deciding not to use the LD again. Luckily, these guys aren't actually that dangerous. So I was debating between whether it was better to just rush down the mannequin or to try to kind of take them both down around the same time. I decided to go with the split approach here because 9 gets that bonus, the Whirling Lance plus when he's fighting multiple enemies, and because Bartz's kit has a lot of splash damage in it, so we'd benefit from having 2 enemies on the field. Just going and hitting them and hitting them. The UI is really kind of starting to irritate me a little bit. You saw earlier how I couldn't see the boss's hit point percentage because of Garland's overheads and buffs and stuff. I usually try to put the range of the overhead characters with overhead effects closer to the right so it's not as big a deal, but in this case I forgot to. Folks have also been talking about how for Eldnarsh in particular, it's kind of annoying because with debuffs, it's really hard to tell what debuff is what at a glance. Like Warp and Terror all just use the generic icon, and it's really kind of lame. It'd be nice if they were able to kind of diversify that a bit. That's my, I guess, Christmas wish, is that they come out with some new debuff icons so we can tell what is what a bit more readily without having to click on the boss, especially since if I try to click on the boss right now, it's going to be a little tricky because Garland's in the way. An LD there, protecting us from Phase Shift Plus. I don't want to think about what Phase Shift Plus looks like. Later in the fight, he's going to use Phase Shift Plus and give me even more stress that doesn't actually do anything. So you see here, boss is almost at 50, so we're going to go ahead and bring in Fujin. Time to go into the Bartz burst. And as a testament to how tame this fight is, this is around the time my wife put Bob's Burgers on the TV, and I started watching that instead of really paying attention to what's going on here. So I'm going to go ahead and blame any misplays that occur from this point on the fact that Bob's Burgers was on the TV, and it was honestly holding my attention a little bit more than this fight was. Shoutouts to Bob's Burgers, I guess. So at this point, Eldritch is getting pretty low, and the boss is now undelayable, which makes Garland very sad. Luckily, the mannequin can still be delayed, and is still not that much of a threat as you just saw there. It can still be broke delayed. But you can see that the turnover stuff is getting a little wonky with how I'm choosing to hit stuff. Use one more Whirling Lance here, because now we're going to go ahead and summon. I brought 3 forms of Paralyzed to deal with the recast. We have the Ramuh, we have Arciela Call, and we have Edward LD Call. In hindsight, I realized I actually goofed this up a little bit, mostly due to Bob's Burgers, in that I could have double dipped on the Arciela HP Silence Call if I had saved that and used the Edward Call first, but as you'll see, it ends up not really being a big deal because Tifa dealt about a third of the boss's health with a single rotation of Battlecry into LD. I feel like I'm not going to be the only one saying this for the next few fights, but Jesus Christ, Tifa's damage, holy God, look at this. That is just... that dealt as much damage as, like, certain burst phases deal. Obviously, you know, not the highest burst phases, but that's just it's a truly absurd amount of damage. Last of our LDs. You'll also notice I waited to bring Tifa in until Bartz's burst effect was triple stacked. We want that yummy HP damage. Unfortunately, the imperil or the enchant just fell off, but it lasted long enough for Tifa to do what she needed to do there. So we're going ahead and using using our Arciela Call to silence them, so that the boss can't do anything nasty with his recast. I'm gonna go ahead and use our last unplussed beat rush there. It's still, I mean, 240,000 damage is not bad for a random non-plus skill. What an insane character they've put out for us at this time. Anyways, you can see we basically have the fight in the bag between the HP silences, the damage, 58 turns out of 90, my goodness. Most of this, I think, is the fact that Tifa just annihilated the boss during the second phase. But everyone played their part. Garland bought the damage, Bartz gave us the boost, 9 kept us alive. And he was able to seal the deal for us. So there you go. That's Eldritch Burst Lufenia. They did with that synergy too. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like it if you did. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Shoutouts to our really tricked out Tifa there. My goodness, that's gross. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Adios.